in a shallow valley, hidden beneath a cluster of acacia and fig trees. A small family of gorillas had taken refuge, a rare and almost unheard of sight in these open grasslands. They had wandered far from their forest home in Uganda, driven south by a season of unrelenting drought. The rivers had turned to cracked mud, the leaves brittle, the forest fruit long gone. Survival had led them here, into the kingdom of lions. The group was small, one dominant silverback, two females, and two young juveniles. The male, known to local rangers as Baraka, carried the quiet authority of a seasoned leader. His massive frame glistened with morning dew, muscles rolling beneath his black coat. Every movement he made was calm, deliberate, until he froze. Something in the air had changed. Up Baraka's nostrils flared. His head turned toward the tall grass that bordered the clearing. The females noticed too. Their low grunts shifted, sharp and uneasy. The younger gorillas clung to their mothers, sensing danger even before it appeared. The first lioness emerged almost soundlessly. Her golden coat caught the morning light, her body low and deliberate. Behind her, another appeared, then another, three in all, their eyes fixed on the movement beneath the trees. At a distance, a large dark-maned male lion stood watching, his tail twitching lazily. Baraka rose to full height. His immense body seemed to absorb the light. He let out a deep, resonant grunt that rolled across the plain like distant thunder. The lionesses halted, momentarily unsure. These were no antelope or zebra, yet the scent of vulnerability, young, tired, unfamiliar, stirred the ancient hunger within them. The air between them tightened. The lionesses spread out, forming a crescent around the troop. The silverback moved with astonishing precision, positioning himself between the lions and his family. The females retreated, urging the young toward the fig tree's low branches. The lions closed in. A heavy silence fell over the valley, broken only by the distant call of a hornbill. Then Baraka made the first move. He thumped his chest 3 times, the sound booming like a drumbeat. The lionesses flinched, the vibration carrying through the ground itself. But hunger is stronger than fear. The lead lioness crouched low, tail flicking. In a blur of golden motion, she lunged. Baraka met her halfway, slamming his enormous arm down with a force that sent her sprawling. Dust burst into the air. The other lionesses darted in, one from the side, one from behind. The silverback spun, teeth bared, striking out with raw, primal power. The troop shrieked in alarm. The juveniles scrambled up the fig tree while the females stayed close, their cries echoing across the plain. The lionesses regrouped, circling again. The male lion began to move forward now, a slow, deliberate advance, his mane rippling with each step. Baraka's breathing grew louder, more controlled. He pounded his chest again, a challenge that carried across the savanna. The lion roared in answer, a sound that made the very grass tremble. Then he charged. The collision was brutal. The two giants met in a blur of muscle and dust, claws and fists striking, roars merging into a single deafening sound. The lion's claws tore across Baraka's arm. The silverback's blow landed hard across the lion's face, forcing him back a step. They circled, each waiting for the other to falter. The lion lunged again, jaws open, but Baraka caught him by the mane, shoving him sideways into the mud. The lion twisted, snapping, his teeth grazing the gorilla's shoulder. They broke apart, both panting, both bleeding. This was no longer a hunt. It was a test of kingship. The females watched from above, calling out, their fear mixing with urgency. One of the lionesses, seeing distraction, leapt for the tree, claws reaching for the lower branches. A mother gorilla kicked down with both legs, knocking the predator away. She tumbled back, snarling, her golden body streaked with mud. Baraka's roar cut through the chaos, a deep sound that made the lions hesitate once more. The male lion, blood streaking his muzzle, stared at the silverback with blazing eyes. The tension between them was pure, silent defiance. Then the ground began to tremble. A deep, resonant rumble rolled across the plains. Not thunder, but something heavier, closer. From beyond the ridge, a small herd of elephants emerged, drawn by the noise and scent of struggle. The matriarch led them, her tusks glinting in the sun, her ears wide with warning. The lions froze. The matriarch raised her trunk, releasing a blast of sound that cut through the air. The lion's confidence wavered. No predator, not even the king of the savannah, challenged elephants. The lionesses began to retreat first, backing away slowly, tails low. The male gave one final growl, more frustration than dominance, before turning toward the open grass and vanishing into the shimmering heat. Baraka stood perfectly still, chest heaving, his dark fur streaked with dust and blood. The elephants stopped a short distance away, forming a protective semicircle. The matriarch gazed down at him for a long moment. Then, with a slow nod of her head, she turned and led her herd onward. Their heavy steps shaking the earth as they disappeared into the horizon, silence returned. Except for the soft calls of birds returning to the trees. The air smelled of dust, sweat, and trampled grass. Baraka turned toward his family. The females descended from the branches, clutching their young tightly. The youngest juvenile, barely old enough to walk on his own, ran to his father and clung to his arm. The silverback lowered himself to one knee, pulling the small one close. The battle was over. The watering hole, once a place of danger, now shimmered in fragile peace. Ripples spread across its muddy surface where Baraka had stood his ground. In the distance, vultures circled high, but none dared descend. The troop gathered together, silent and watchful. The females groomed the silverback's wounds, their movements slow and deliberate. Baraka remained still, his gaze fixed on the horizon where the lions had vanished. Overhead, the sun climbed higher. The heat pressed down again, reclaiming the silence. But something had shifted. The fragile balance of power that defined life on the plains had, for one rare morning, bent toward unity rather than destruction. The elephant's shapes faded into the distance, and the lion's roars dwindled to echoes. Baraka rose. His shadow stretched long across the grass as he led his family toward the shade of the fig trees. Each step was deliberate, each breath steady. Behind them, the marks of struggle remained. Paw prints, claw marks, broken earth, the fleeting script of survival written on the land. The Serengeti exhaled once more, vast and timeless to eye in the wild. Every day is a test of strength, instinct, and chance. But on this morning, something extraordinary had unfolded. The rulers of the savannah and the guardians of the forest had crossed paths, and for a single heartbeat in time. The outcome was not death, but recognition. Baraka paused once at the edge of the trees, looking back toward the open plain. The golden grass swayed gently in the wind, concealing all signs of the clash. He grunted softly, not in fear, but acknowledgement, and vanished into the shade, his troop following close behind. Above them, the sky stretched infinite and bright, carrying the faint echo of trumpets and roars, the voices of those who rule and those who endure. And as the heat rose, the plains fell quiet again, as if the earth itself had chosen to remember this day, the day the unthinkable happened, and the wild chose peace over blood.